Hello, and welcome to the new episode of Fellow Commerce. This is where we delve into the trends of modern commerce. My name is Philip Lopkowski. I'm the host of this show, and today I have a very, very exciting guest for you from a company you might have heard about called Google. And I'm very excited because today I'm joined by Cecilie Roe, who is a senior industry manager for retail at Google. Hi, Cecilia.
Hi, Philip.
Hey, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, for those who don't know you, maybe you can tell a little bit about your quite a cool experience, not only with Google,
Yeah,
as far
thank
as I
you
know.
so much. Happy to. My name is Cecilia, as you said, and I'm working for Google as a senior industry manager. Been working for Google for 5 years, and primarily I work with retail clients. And my job, in a nutshell, is to obviously understand their strategy and their business and figure out, how Google can help them grow. And that can span for different sort of pillars, everything for like marketing, so typically search and YouTube, but also anything like analytical, deep analytical work, BI work. We help with consumer insights, brand strategy, content strategy, but it can also go all the way into martech and sort of cloud and IT. So I'm a little bit of a generalist, and I'll explain a bit more about my like resume in general. I have a team here of like plus 10 people that are specialized within the areas that I just mentioned that help me set out to, help our clients in the best way possible. So that's what I do here and have been doing for 5 years. But prior to that, I had 3 years of experience with Meta, doing kind of the same thing, working with the a few different verticals there, so also ecom, and getting some experience with all the great things that Meta also are doing. Super interesting times. That was really the golden days back in, yeah, before Cambridge Analytica and all of that. But yeah, super glad to have that experience under my wings as well. And prior to that, I've been working with digital marketing for 12 years now and been around both at agency side, client side, and also dipping my toes a little bit in like the tech side. So yeah, a fairly broad experience within like digital marketing, you can say. But super happy to be here today and excited for the conversation that we're gonna have.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, and that really is a great experience, and you have, um, I I would say, a very broad view of what is happening on the market, and I know it firsthand because I'm on the side of the brand. So we're having those meetings and discussing everything, how Google can help our brand and everything. So yeah, I'm taking a little bit of advantage of my position over here to have a little bit of your time and discuss all of the exciting topics. But I think that there is a lot of value that we can bring through this discussion to everybody who is listening and viewing it, because there's a lot of things happening on the market, and you see them unfolding, and this is basically what I wanted to ask you about, and get your perspective on it. Listen, let me dive right into it. And I wanted to ask you from a search perspective, because, well, Google is quite known for search, I would say. Many other things as well, but search is kind of like a go-to for most of us. And from a search perspective, what is happening on the market? What are the key trends that businesses, and especially retail businesses, need to be aware of in 2025 regarding search?
Mm. It's a great question, and I'll do my best to answer it because it's not just one question, but or like answer. But I'll do my best to talk a little bit about what we see also changing in search from our perspective. So for a long time, actually, for years, we've seen new searches. Like every day, 15% of the searches we see are new in the way they're being asked, the queries, all of that. And that obviously puts a lot of requirements on Google to help answer that in the best way possible. And what we've seen also with the birth of like AI and generative AI and all of that, like queries are also changing in the way that that people are searching. So queries are getting longer, more complex. Some of them are with a commercial focus, so they're like people already know what they want to buy. Others are more like discovering and researching an aspect, and more like leading up to a conversation. And for us, or for Google, to like navigate in that field, and also for a retailer, can be quite challenging, but also super interesting. And we have done a lot on our side to, both test, but also, yeah, how can you say, like, iterate our products to sort of match what the users are actually looking for and what they need in this whole, like, we used to call it a funnel. It's actually not so much a funnel anymore. Like, consumers will go back and forth from like research phase, further down the funnel, up again across different products as well. So they might look in search, but they might go to YouTube or even other platforms to look and research and get, like, maybe creators aspect on a product and stuff. So the user journey in itself has also become more tricky, or like not as linear as it used to be, which is also interesting. But I would say from a retailer perspective, and what you also see in our products, a lot of them now, actually most of them in search, have AI built into them, so the intelligence of AI. And what that means from a retailer perspective, or from advertisers in general, is that to get the most out of those products, they need to lean into AI as well from their side. So really leaning into these products that we have on our side, that utilizes AI, so that can save the retailers and the advertisers a lot of time, and like what we normally would do, optimizing like all the manual, figuring out what the right keywords are, like bits, all of these things, maybe on a bit more, yeah, putting it a little bit more simple. But also, what creative should I have? Also, again, going back to looking at where are the consumer in the funnel? What type of message do I want to bring to this person at the right time, at the right place? All of these things is something that we've seen change, and we've adopted our products to do that. And that's also what we kind of encourage our advertisers to also, be aware of and lean into. And we have developed a lot of product that can help make that easier. But yeah, I think that was maybe in a nutshell,
Yeah,
again.
yeah, thank you. That and this is very interesting because I think that most of us have recently, well, in the last couple of years, noticed that when you ask something in the Google search, the page with the answer, the first page with the answer, used to look like it was all promoted before. Like the first couple of places were all promoted links, and well,
Mm,
understandably, but nowadays more and more when you request something, you see this kind of like useful small area where there is already a short answer that looks like an AI generated answer, or it's a context that is created as several quotes put together into one answer, and then you see the source link, which is very very helpful. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and I never understood, like, it doesn't work on all of the requests, but on
no,
some of the requests you will have to, they're very specific, like you want to know how to prepare a special meal, does this go with that? And I guess that's it's very interesting because it changes that you said that the pattern of how the queries are changing, and we can see that Google is also changing in terms of how you satisfy. What is the strategy behind it? What is kind of like the structure behind the change that you're going through in answering those new queries and structuring the first page? Because let's be honest, again, people are not going beyond the first page when they search for something. Very small percent, and of course, you're in a better position to answer this one, or comment on this one, please do. But from I guess people are not really going very very deep into pages. It depends, of course, on what they're searching for. But the first page is still the winner.
yeah, I think it's such a nice, or interesting conversation to have, because I, again, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, I think what the front page look like is very dependent on what type of query the consumer is coming with. So that might have, as I said, like, it has different sort of intents. So, and then we're trying to, with the best we can, with also the help from AI, to figure out, is it a research question, or is it, because then the front page should look like this, or is it more commercial? Then it would probably have like more shopping to it, or like more like, yeah, down the funnel leading up to a purchase. So I think or in my ability to answer your question is like, the front page it really depends. It looks different depending on what the search query is that's coming in, and that it itself is also becoming more complex. You might also see this from your own sort of behavior. I really do that myself. That if I want to have more of a conversation, I might even go to Gemini, to be honest, to have that conversation, because we don't have AI overviews. I'm not even sure you've heard about this product. Maybe you have. Happy to tell about or talk more about that. But I might go to Gemini to have like that conversation about something where I'm not really sure how to approach, or if I'm going on a holiday somewhere, like how should I go about this, and all the different things that are hard to fit into like one small query. So, and I think that's maybe a good segue into actually talking about what I just mentioned about AI overviews, which is launched in I think 100 markets now, globally. Not in Nordics yet, hence why I'm using Gemini here. But uh, but but that's like because we've seen this in need to have like more of a conversation. So we sort of feed it in what from like normal chatbots. We kind of have tested and have now rolled out in some markets this ability to have a more conversational search for these things, and then that will also have like commercial intent, everything taking into it. So it's intelligent enough to switch what we don't see now in Nordics. That can sort of take that into account in some of the markets where it's rolled out. Yeah.
Interesting. Um, and from a commercial perspective, of course, my question will be how can brands utilize this? So when it was in the past, um, you pay more and your ad becomes like higher or lower, or
Mm.
so there was a clear like commercial exchange between the value of the placement and the CTRs that you get. um there is, of course, a lot of things in play. I don't want to go deep into the conversation about the search and things like this, because it's an endless conversation. But in regards to how is best for businesses and retailers to utilize the structure of the main page that Google represents today, what is the best strategy? Does anything change in the strategy at all? I mean, do retailers need to adapt to that new reality with how the main page is structured today?
I would say, as I also said in the beginning about like the features that we're launching, so not to go too much into the products, but like PMAX, for example, value-based bidding, broad match, all these features that we have that leverage AI, if you utilize those, you're kind of like prepared to whenever like we're rolling out this new search experience, because AI will then help you to uh, it will it will know when to show, for example, a text ad or when to show a shopping ad. So if you're like leaned into that and opted into that, the system will help you be prepared. And then as an add-on to that, and something I talked a lot to my clients about, is their feed. So the feed will become, and has been for a long time, really, really important, because that's where you can really tell Google all about the products you have. So that we also know, because what we want to do is have the most relevant what do you say, like experience, or like, so when people search, they should get the most relevant answer. And the more we know from you on a specific product, and or also with SEO, the better, right? Now I'm mixing two things together, but to stay on the feed, that is also something where you can leverage AI to have like smart product descriptions, um, all the fields that you might not have filled out. AI can actually help you fill that out. So I would, as an advertiser, really look at how I can utilize. And there's loads of different solutions to help you make sure that your feed is like best in class. And I would start already now. It's not something you need to wait for, but like really have thought about, is your feed utilizing all the attributes and all the things that are that you can actually feed in there, because that will also be super important. going
Wow,
forward.
thank you. And I think that, yeah, this is really a very good advice. And I think that it makes a lot of sense that the more information about your products you provide to the search engine, the more relevant the answer of the search engine will be on the consumer query. But at the same moment, we see how larger space this AI answer like takes from the page, and especially when it's a mobile device.
Mm,
So this this AI generated answer becomes larger and larger. Uh, so it's very very important and crucial to be there, to be in this answer. So if you're like manufacturing whatever that is, I don't know, like the best phone cases, and somebody's searching for shock resistant, water resistant, this and this and that, then you better put all of those like hashtags and in the description and be
exactly.
really the best answer. That's interesting and that's exciting. That kind of gives an interesting perspective of how marketers and businesses need to address how they work with search engines and optimization over there.
Yeah, and then there's actually one more thing that I forgot to mention, which is more maybe on the content side, and thinking about what you have available there too, in like everything from like images, even video also, and really putting that into the system as well, so that that can help you again showcase. And I think even in search now you can also have like images, so it's like it's blurring a little bit more. When we, back in the day, search was like very text heavy, then came shopping, you would have your product images. And I think, and that's maybe more on myself now, but like you'll see that changing even more. So like having the right content is also super important from a creative perspective, and then feeding that into the system as well, so it can help you again give the right message at the right time to the right user. And that can also in search queries just as much be images, and or even video at some point.
Yeah, listen, this is a very interesting conversation, but I know for a fact that this can be an endless conversation. If we start drilling into this one, there is product feeds, there is like product based, carousels and a lot to unwrap here. But I'm sure that this already is a very important message for all of the marketers out there to look into this. If you're not paying too much attention to this, then this is your alarm bell to do that. But what I wanted to ask you is this duality between the search and the Gemini, because I'm also using Gemini a lot, and I tend to ask more and more questions to AI agents. I use several. Sorry, but it's not only the
That's
good.
fair.
There are a couple of like smaller companies who also make AI chatbots. But they're good for different purposes, I guess. But I like see that I'm using it more and more often, and I'm using the Google search more and more when I need to find a specific link to buy something more transaction based kind of. When I have like a question that I need answered, I tend to ask it to AI agent more often. So what is the strategy there? Like, will Google search become more a transactional place and Gemini will become more question answering like search place?
um that's a good question. I think, no, listen, I think what what will happen, obviously I can't look into the future, right? So but I'll give you my 2 cents on it. I think it will, the lines will blurry a bit more about, and I think search, like our search experience, will also blend a bit more in. So like right now in the Nordics, as we talk about, there's Gemini and search. In other markets we have AI overviews, which has more of conversational AI fit into it, and I think that's what's going to happen here as well. I'm really fairly convinced that AI overviews will also come to us here in the Nordics. So we will see. We won't need to go into another platform like we do now with Gemini or the likes. It will be integrated. You also see it with Bing and what is it called? Their OpenAI, right? That they integrated that into their system. So And I think that's what we'll see here as well. So that everything and the system will also be smarter to know, okay, this is like more of like a conversational search, like discovery search. So it won't have like this direct intent as we used to say a lot about search in like years back, that it was more like lower funnel intent driven. In fact, now, and we see that across ages as well. So also for the younger generation, they use search a lot for like the discovery research phase, really really asking all the questions, and I think it will be in the same platform. No need to go into necessarily a different tool.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's very interesting because it seems like this is kind of like the days where Google just started. Like, I mean, back in the days
Yeah.
when it was several search engines on the market, and there was this kind of like competition between them, and everybody were in the same level. The same thing kind of happens with the apps, with those AI chatbots and apps, and this is just a new format. But I guess that it will somehow blend. The question is, how will it blend? Because will people be more used to using the apps? Of course, there's also a Google app, so there are people who are using search, I guess, through the app, and there are
Mm.
people who are using through browser. Most likely, as what we see is there will always be different segments. Even if there is like a 10%, 5% segment of people who tend to use something in the app versus the browser, or the browser versus the app, it will still exist because
Mm.
there are different segments always. But there will be a majority. Like mobile device became 70-60% for most of the industries for search and for like just browsing, and desktop became a minority in terms of search browsing, and it's actually has a better conversion. Usually depends on the industry, but I guess that people just finalize their transactions on the desktop while they're at work or after
Yeah,
work.
it
we, ne-
might
we never
be.
we never know.
We never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, I guess I agree with you. There will be some kind of blend of it, but as you said in the beginning, people tend to ask questions to search like they do to Gemini,
Mm.
like a research type of query, like prompt, instead of just white sneakers buy, something
Yeah.
like what we would typically ask to the search bar. Okay, and maybe you can highlight some of the exciting new tools or like announcements that we can expect from Google in 2025, that you can talk about. I'm sure you know more that you can talk about, but maybe just the ones that you can talk about, so people can keep an eye on that and be aware that this is about to happen.
Yeah, happy to. So we have Google I/O coming up now in May. So I won't spoil too much. I'm also not allowed to. But definitely, like, for those that knows about it, like, register and listen in, because that's really where we launch a lot of new cool features to the public. So that's always interesting. I think.
Can you give 2 cents on like what is that for people who are not aware of that?
Yeah, sure. Like, Google I/O is our annual sort of conference. It's hosted both virtually and physically in our headquarters in San Francisco. But that's where we launch all our new features to the public. So you will hear not just from search, but like anything cloud, YouTube, AI, like Gemini, like all these different areas will be launched to the public. I believe it's like the 20th of May, something around that time, and that's, yeah, an annual thing. So you'll hear, I think, even our CEO Sundar will be there and present. So it's a very cool event that we have every year. So but yeah, so that's the event. But from my perspective, definitely, we talked a lot about it today, but keep an eye on like search. I believe search is gonna change more this year than we've seen the past 10 years. So I think there's definitely a lot there that I would keep an eye on, also from our blogs and like everything. Then we have another cool product that's called VO2, which is basically a video. You can produce video with prompts, so you can produce text, and then it will convert into super cool video, very flawless, very seamless. And I think this will like just lift the bar on like, production and everything that is super expensive nowadays. And really set the bar high on like quality of the content. That is also, as we talked about, super important. So that's one thing. And then the last thing, and we haven't touched so much upon it today, but we really talk a lot about this like agentic era, and like now we've seen chatbots, but we also see like agents come more and more
Hmm.
into play. And we obviously also have a lot of products in that field, and we have like in the works we have a few already, but where you can also prompt an agent so that you can build your own agent in minutes, something that like just a year ago would take months to produce. You can build that with like a simple prompt, and you can build it within your own tone of voice, all of this both as a company, but also I believe at some point as a private person.
That's very
um,
interesting. If I may ask about how companies can. So, if you're not aware about, if you're living under the rock, you never heard about AI agents, Google it. But this is a very exciting thing, of course, for the consumer behavior. It brings a ton of different interesting topics and everything. But what is your take on how businesses can leverage AI agents, and what will be a typical use in the beginning for, in your opinion, for AI agents for retail businesses or other businesses?
um, how I see it, because it actually spans quite widely. So you can both have an agent that's like facing your own customers as a retailer. So kind of like, from chatbots, but smarter.
Hmm.
And that can be, as I said, like prompted with your tone of voice, and it will like scrape all the information. So it's like a quite smart agent that can help in all like FAQ questions, or it can even have you can prompt it to have like commercial recommendations, and it can almost like finish a purchase, helping a customer that might come to your store. But you can also have it, facing your internal people. So, like, say, for your customer service, you have a new person starting up at customer service that's sitting taking question, might not know the products or like the company that well. Then it can have an agent, or that person can have an agent helping like fetch data super fast, like in real time, to be able to answer these questions. And that's like just dipping the toe, because it can span, very
Wow.
widely.
Well, there is another small company called Microsoft that already coined the phrase of copilot to an
Yeah.
extent, I think. But it sounds like something like that, and this is very exciting because from a retail perspective, me as a practitioner in the retail business, customer care is usually not a simple area to build, because this up until today was a very, very manual process in a lot of ways. And again, let's be honest, chatbots and things like this, yeah, well, people usually, when we all get those calls, or well, when we call somewhere and there is an option to talk to a robot or an option to
uh,
talk to an operator, we all know what we do. We press the zero or whatever the option is, right? But recently, actually, I don't remember the name of the company. Was it UPS or some courier company that had an AI agent helping? And it took me a couple of minutes to realize that it was an AI generated voice.
yeah.
It was so good. It really felt like talking to a real person. And this was amazing, and I think that we are very, very close to that. I'm very excited about this opportunity, and thank you very much for bringing it up. I think that really you need to keep an eye on that, because when we think about AI agents, we think about the consumer. Yeah, they will create an AI agent. They will just ask to do a research, choose the best price for this, the best price for that, place an order, etc., etc. But from a business perspective, there should be a counterpart for this AI agent created on the consumer side. So we are entering the era where UX UI becomes a past to an extent, the UX UI of this website. And again, it's one big friction. I'm doing e-commerce for more than 10 years now. For all of this 10 years, we're trying to remove the friction. Nobody removed it completely because let's face it, the website itself is one big friction. You need to go, you need to click, you need to go through the menu. Even if it's perfectly built, it's still somehow somebody built it for you, and then it's one big friction. So having this ability to ask your AI agent, just go out there and find the best option, find the best delivery cost, or return like cost or something like this, and do it for you, creates this need of creating a counterpart. And I think that creating this counterpart might benefit the businesses even before consumers will create their AI agents. Think about this experience when you browse the website, when you go through the menu, when you go through the PDP. Can you actually help the client who is right now in search, or who is right now hesitant to put it into cart, and then show a pop-up and ask him or her a question of like, how can we help you? How can we answer this or that question? There is multiple things that can be done with this, and I think that this is a great opportunity and it's very exciting times.
I
Very chat.
agree.
One of the silly questions is, do you remember when back in the day people used to create, like, there was like a blue background and then they will create blue text that regular people cannot see. You can only see it if you click with a mouse on it, but then you cannot see it. But the robots from Google can see it, and that should have improved your kind of like search engine optimization and positions and something like this. Of course, all of that is a thing of a past right now, and I think that things like tricks like this actually even remove some of the ratings of the websites right now. But it's interesting because if that will be like the AI agents going through the websites instead of people, will people come up with, I'm sure they will, people are so inventive, will people come up with ways to trick the robots, trick the agents?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
see. But yeah, it is super interesting to see the involvement, and it's going so fast.
yeah.
Uh, but I think it's for the better. So because it will save also as a consumer a lot of time, and for the brands out there, it will also save your time, hopefully, but also the whole experience that the consumer will have coming to you will be improved, I think.
Of course, it brings a very interesting question of, today you can buy the semantics for paid search, and well, if you have the budget to compete with like big marketplaces and whatnot, then you can be top on Google for a specific query. But in the future, if people will use agents to search for something, those requests might not be based on a specific brand, and the answer that they will get might be a mix of different options, or might be only one option. So how to get into those few options that people will have? Today you have endless amounts of pages with the answers. If somebody wants to really research all the options on the market, they can go through all of the pages that Google provides you
Mm,
and basically see all options. AI agent will choose a few. The question is how. Probably based on how you call it, the best the best suitable information, the best kind of like answer. But that's also, it puts a lot of pressure on retailers and brands to really tell the story of their product. So your content, everybody are asking about, like, oh, will the jobs be stolen, like taken by the robots and everything? Listen, it's only who can put all of the USPs of your brands out there. Robots
yes,
won't do it for
exactly.
you.
Never. No, no. I think, yeah, you're spot on with that. Like I think AI is just uh, sort of, it can give you a bit of a superpower. It sounds a little bit cliche, but it can help you with a lot of things. And then there's areas that it can't help you with, that only you can do as a human. So it's just putting it to use there uh, where your time is better used elsewhere. And then yeah, so I think it's a win-win in the end. But I also understand that it's a huge change for advertisers or for retailers and all clients as well, that we need to lean into. But but yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Well,
worried.
The outcome of the conversation with with Google cannot be anything else, but we are in exciting times, and we need to keep an eye on this fast changing environment and landscape. But Cecilia, thank you very much for spending time with us today, and I am sure that everybody got a lot of different insights and things that they need to be aware of this year. I'm reminding everybody that please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and in the comment section, tell us about what do you think about the AI agents and the changes that we're about to face. Cecilia, I want really to thank you very much again, and wish you a great day.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.